one thing I really wanted to know was, ever since you made it to Impact Wrestling, you've been killing it. You've been making a name for yourself. How is it like winning one of the biggest accomplishments in Impact Wrestling, which is the Knockouts Tag Team Champions with Jordynne Grace? How is that like?
It was really unbelievable, Eric, because that was my first match in Impact. And so to debut and then right away win the knockout, tag titles, it was really unimaginable for me. And uh, I think I almost didn't even take a second to realize what was happening, right? Because it happened so quickly. But I just mentioned this before, but Jordynne has really become one of my best friends. And so that's been just such a surprise for me, because when I initially committed to coming to Impact, I did not think I was going to be in a tag team. And so, because I've always been a singles wrestler, and, I never really sought out having a partner to just be with through everything. And so it was a surprise for me, but the best surprise possible. And then, I really quickly realized, like, her and our styles mesh so well together. And think we work well together in the ring and then outside of the ring. I love spending time with her and supporting her in whatever she's doing. So I got very, very lucky with that. And really, that'll just be forever one of my favorite memories in wrestling. Just how it all came together. Everything I went through leading up to that made it extra special for me. And then Jazz being out there was unreal, like really unbelievable. So it'll forever be one of my favorite wrestling memories. Hopefully we get them again, though. I don't want to just be like a one time thing. I think we're better now than we were then. So it'll happen again, I'm sure.
I'm sure you're gonna get them. You guys are super talented. Especially since that was your first match. You definitely just made a big bright light. In Impact Wrestling, showing off what you're good at and what you're gonna follow on. Something I also wanted to ask you was, because you grew up a fan of pro wrestling, is there any wrestler that you've always wanted to get in the ring with, past and present?
Sure. So in the past, I would probably say Bull Nakano. She is my all-time favorite wrestler. I have her blue entrance robe right over there. It's my most prized possession. I've met her before, and she is just an angel of a person. But I would have loved to step in the ring with her when she was in her prime, with those All Japan women's shows, and she was spectacular. And so that would be my choice from the past. In the present, kind of sticking with the same thing, but I would choose Satomura, who is just phenomenal. She's really like the last of the OGs from Japan, and I adore her as a person. I think she's an assassin in the ring, and so it would be just a pleasure to step in there with her. So those would probably be my top two picks. Do you have a couple favorites that you have?
For me, it would be like all the originals, like China. Like I would love to. It's so hard to pick because a lot of the originals would have been amazing. There's so much new talent today where I can't really limit anyone really. Like everyone in Japan, phenomenal talent. They're all coming. To the U.S. Some are going there. It's just amazing how it's so fluid. How everyone could go everywhere. With when the right time is. So it's great.
Yeah. I totally agree. I loved China. The first time I saw her, I was blown away. And then, Trish and Lita, their main event of Raw was one of the very first things I found on YouTube that made me fall in love with wrestling. And so I of course would choose them as well. And so many of those women would have fit in really well with this current era, right? Where we have more opportunity to have longer matches and really show what we can do. And so many of them would have just flourished, with the opportunities that we have now. And so I think you're right. I think, just the crossing of paths would be so cool.
But I do love your picks though, because they weren't ones that people would expect. You know what I mean? Like those picks were very unique, and I really like those.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
My third question is, growing up a child in professional wrestling, witnessing a lot, what is one of your earliest memories of really truly fitting into the business, like seeing something that us, fans wouldn't see?
So, Eric, I actually, my dad did not let us watch wrestling when I was growing up. And so I didn't really fall in love with it until I was about 16. And then I was obsessed with it. I was all in. My dad still did not want me to be a wrestler. Even once I was in Canada training, he did not want me to do this. And so kind of a different intro to wrestling than other generational talents. But I think the moment I realized that I kind of fit in was really during my training up there with Lance Storm. Because at the end of your 3-month training class, he sits everybody down and then he'll kind of tell you, okay, I think you have a future in this. Or for some people, it's, hey, you're not cut out for wrestling. Like, this isn't going to be something you succeed at. And he's very honest about it. And I think him sitting there and telling me like, hey, you have a chance to really be good at this. I think you can be really special. I see it in you. I just knew like, hey, I definitely can do this. And I've kind of earned my spot in wrestling, because at the end of the day, like, it's me taking the bumps. It's me doing the work for it, right? It isn't my dad. It isn't my last name that does all that for me. It's me. And so having someone else who didn't even know my dad, personally or anything like that, tell me like, hey, you've got a chance to be really special at this. That's when I knew like, okay, I can do this. Like, I belong in here and I can, go toe to toe with anybody. And so I thought that very early on. And then, you just have moments of reassurance throughout your career. And now I'm, 5 years in, and I've just had little moments like that, maybe like twice a year, I'll have an interaction with someone where I kind of remember like, yeah, this is really what I was meant to do. And, not only did I love it and want to be good at it, I loved it enough to work really hard to become good at it, so that would probably be my answer for that.
That's awesome.
That was a little long for you.
No, I love listening to this stuff. It's one of the most fascinating conversations I've ever listened to. And it's really cool that you didn't really get a push, or like there was no like help really, other than you forcing yourself to go, to school and get coached. How was it training with Lance Storm, if you don't mind me asking?
Please, no problem at all. It was great.
Sorry,
It was great. I had never taken a bump. I had never been in a wrestling ring before I got there. And so, I learned everything from scratch, and it was such a great experience. Within 3 months, I went from learning how to run the ropes and bump and do all of that to having my very first match the day after our class finished. And so it was such a quick 3 months. But, I still keep in touch with some of the guys that were in my class, and I was the only girl. So it was a little different experience, but I loved that because I played football growing up. I've always been an athlete. Even when I was younger, like at recess, I played with the boys and not with the girls. And so it really was a natural fit for me. And then, Lance was great with us. He kind of figures out what method of teaching works for everybody. And so I was really lucky that he kind of really figured me out right away. And then, I was just able to learn everything. And then after that, it's kind of just up to you as an individual to go out and get the experience and get on as many shows as you can. And, I've had some incredible experiences, ranging from my first match until now, and that's on small shows and big shows, anything in between. So it was incredible.
That's great to hear. All right, I'm not going to hold any more time.
No,
thank you so much, David.
I'm glad we got to chat, and your picture turned out great.
That's perfect. Love it. Thank you so much.
The blue really is the pick of the day, I think.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. Good talking with you.
See you next time, buddy.
See you next time.